The tragic true crime story of Fausto Tinelli and Lorenzo Iannucci, rooted in the turbulent years of Italy's political and social unrest, casts a stark light on the era's violent struggle between emerging leftist movements and entrenched extremist factions. Their deaths in March 1978 in the streets of Milan reflect not just a criminal act, but a poignant chapter in Italy's history of political violence during the so-called Years of Lead. Fausto Tinelli and Lorenzo Iannucci, known for their involvement in the leftist and autonomous movements, were deeply embedded in the political activism that characterized late 1970s Italy. On the evening of March 18, 1978, the two young men were brutally gunned down as they walked along Via Moncinelli in Milan, a crime that shocked the community and signaled the dangerous polarities of Italian society at the time. The immediate investigation into their killings focused on the murky intersection of political activism and the violence perpetrated by right-wing extremist groups, which were often implicated in attempts to destabilize the country and discredit leftist factions. The climate of fear and tension was palpable as Italy grappled with terrorism, kidnappings, and assassinations, all of which contributed to a pervasive sense of insecurity. Suspicions in the case of Tinelli and Iannucci initially centered around neo-fascist groups known for targeting leftist activists as part of a broader strategy of tension aimed at creating chaos and undermining democratic institutions. These groups, some with shadowy ties to elements within the Italian state and secret services, were part of a complex web of alliances and enmities that made the investigation particularly challenging. Despite the efforts of law enforcement, the murders of Tinelli and Iannucci remained unsolved, becoming emblematic of the period's unresolved tensions and the state's inability to protect its citizens or provide justice for victims of political violence. The lack of convictions left a wound in the fabric of Italian society, contributing to a legacy of mistrust and unresolved grief for the families and communities affected. The aftermath of their killings saw an increased mobilization among leftist groups and a demand for justice that went beyond the immediate case to encompass a broader critique of the Italian state's complicity or ineffectiveness in dealing with right-wing terrorism. Memorials and demonstrations became platforms not only for mourning, but for articulating a vision of social justice and political engagement aimed at combating the forces of fascism and promoting a more equitable society. The story of Fausto Tinelli and Lorenzo Iannucci, therefore, is not merely a tale of a crime, but a reflection on a tumultuous period in Italian history. It underscores the dangers of political extremism and the cost of ideological warfare, serving as a somber reminder of the young lives cut short in the struggle for a better world. Their legacy, imbued with the ideals of justice and resistance, continues to inspire those committed to confronting hate and fostering a society grounded in mutual respect and democracy.